Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. He's Anthony Stabile. I'm Andy Serling. We're both wearing gray.
I was going to say we matched today.
I don't
Gray
match.
on a gray day.
Same jacket.
Right? That's what they say. We got to bet gray horses today. Is that accurate?
Oh yeah. I always bet the grays.
Did you ever, at any point in your life, even when you were a kid, have any sort of old racetrack thing you did do?
Yeah, I actually recognized from an early age how stupid they all were. And I think that's one of the reasons
You ever play any numbers?
Once again, I recognize how stupid all that stuff is.
You ever play like the daily number or anything like that? Never?
Once again. There was a student film done on the Tournament of Champions in Jeopardy about mid-'80s, late 80s. It's when that guy Chuck, the guy who was a legendary player, Chuck. And they all talked about him sort of in hushed tones, all the different contestants, and they didn't have Chuck on camera until they got to the Tournament of Champions. And somebody said to Chuck something like, "What are you going to do next? You're going to tackle Wheel of Fortune?" And Chuck says, "Wheel of Fortune's a very stupid show." And the guy says, "My wife loves Wheel of Fortune." He said, "Once again, Wheel of Fortune's a very stupid show." So I feel like Chuck does. No, I don't get any of that crap. I remember someone I know telling me that if you go to the window, when people bet at the windows in the old days, it was a long time ago, and you mean to bet like a 6-5 exacta, and you miss punch and the guy gives you 7-5, should never return it. And I'm thinking, why not? He said, "Well, what if it wins?" I go, "Well, I wanted to bet 6-5. What do I care if 7-5 wins? Because I momentarily had the wrong ticket? Sorry, that stuff's crap. And anybody who does that is losing more than they should at the racetrack."
Canceled one in Saratoga this year. It came in.
Doesn't make any difference.
I know.
It's irrelevant.
I know.
It doesn't matter.
I know.
Anyhow, head over to Naira Bets. If you are not a member, become a member.
Don't have to worry about mispunching there. It's all on you.
That's right. Thank you. Very good. Well, you got to get match 200 right. I mean, if you can spell match.
Or he's coming for you. The mark of Zorro is coming for you.
Yeah, that's striking fear.
He'll be in the
hearts,
forepath, but he'll be coming for you.
That's Naira Bets. Head over to NairaBets.com. We have the $10,000 hit and split. This is just the late pick 5 today, not early and late as it was last week. The late pick 5.
You want to wait and see the weather? Might put a ticket up for this.
Okay, well, yeah, there is. I mean, it appears that we've gotten very fortunate. There was a lot more rain predicted. There's some that may move through, but it feels like it's mostly a little bit to the north of us, so we actually have a good chance to get through this card and be okay with the turf. And I mean, I would have, last night, looking at the forecast, you would have said there was no chance. So that's always good. I did put up on Naira.com my off-the-turf picks. In the unlikely event they do come off, I did put up off-the-turf picks, and they were updated after scratches. Race. What else do we have? We have contest. You have until tomorrow at 5 o'clock for the $300 buy-in, cash and seat prizes, and also 12 to 8:30. You know, these shows.
2 to 8:30.
Just great. You know, Churchill Downs, they have a different post time every day. The good news for those of you that are insomniacs is they'll be racing until 5 in the morning on Saturday night. We're only staying till 4, though. Anyhow, today's first race.
Can you imagine racing till 5 in the morning?
Well, I always wondered why, a track like, I guess you'd probably want to be in a warmer climate, but slightly warmer, but like, why no track tried like a New Year's Eve card at midnight?
They do.
The problem is,
they do it in Canada.
Drinking.
They do it in Canada. I believe Windsor Raceway did it.
Probably a chilly night in Windsor on New Year's Eve.
I believe they race, well, they don't do a complete midnight card, but they race till about 1:30 or 2 in the morning.
Cool.
But
the Meadowlands used to race on. They still had thoroughbreds until New Year's Eve, and they would have a card. They wouldn't race into the new year, but I think there's a law in you can't race after midnight or something.
At the Meadowlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Yonkers used to have a New Year's Eve card as well. They used to have a big party in the. I can't remember the name of what the dining room was called back then, but they used to have a big New Year's Eve party.
If you can remember the name of the disco at Monticello Raceway, then you're a legend. Beyond the legend you already are.
Sorry, pal.
Remember the first time I went to Monticello, we used to go down there and they'd race on Sunday afternoons. I went there with somebody I was friendly with, I actually heard passed away, named Jim Denio, who used to own harness horses. He used to drive down with him sometimes, and we used to have horses when I was a kid, Serial Harness.
The only times I've been to Monticello is when I've driven in media races. I've never been there as a spectator. I've been there as a participant.
Monticello did a big, back in the day, because it's not that far from here, it's about an hour and a half from here.
Hour and 45, yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, I think you and I have the same horse in the first race. Why do you like Will Be Famous?
You know, it looks to me like this is, well, it's number one, Dan was 2 for 7 on the grass, so it looked like this horse getting to the surface that she was bred
Or
to
2 for
handle.
6.
I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, 2 for 7.
Okay.
I thought that this horse ran pretty well first time out, kind of had some trouble leaving out of there last time, and then now is just getting to the preferred surface, a couple of dirt races, some experience under her belt, and I thought she was poised for a
Yeah, I'm not sure she went better in her second start. She got kind of a silly ride that day. I like this horse. I've been on this horse after her first start and thought she ran a little better than it looks in her second start. She has pedigree. It's a half to a turf winner. The second dam was a very nice turf horse. With Galileo's Jewel out, I think that helps the case. There is some pedigrees to go out around here. I think the 10 Quarrel is a very dangerous horse, a half to Daunt. And there's plenty of turf pedigree in there. Chad Brown's horse has turf pedigree. The 7, you have second, I have fourth. That horse, a half to 4 turf winners. I even thought the 6 for Marcassi was a very dangerous horse in here. The horse got bet first time, but it's probably more of a turf pedigree, at least on the dam side.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was successful in the turf.
Had 4 wins on the grass, yeah. Took a bunch of money, like you said, first time out, showed some speed. Yeah, I thought she was dangerous as well.
See what happens in race number 1. Race number 2. We'll start with run up the score. I'll be interested to see who's favored among these. Hard to know right now who's going to be favored among them, but I imagine run up the score could be favored. I just thought this horse beat an absolutely hopeless field last time.
It was a terrible field, right, Andy? That's number 1. And number 2, save that one race at Churchill back on your birthday in June. Her figs just don't stack up with some of the other horses in here.
Well, if I were Anthony Stabile, I'd say her 2 fast track figs are her 2 best recent figs.
Yes, no
and maybe
question.
a fast track will help her out. But then again, maybe there's a concern it was going to rain, which it apparently didn't really, or is it going to rain enough to affect the racetrack?
But even her 2 best figs, right? Preposterous has run better on a couple of occasions, and Motion has run better on a couple of occasions. I put her second as well, but if she's going to be the favorite or the second choice in here, I would want to look elsewhere.
Yeah, I thought it was a 2-horse race between the 4 and 5 in this race. I just put the 5 on top. Didn't have a particularly strong opinion. What did I miss about Preposterous?
I don't know. I thought our last race was good. Linda's horses have come here firing off the Saratoga meet, and 5 for 13 to kick off the stand here at Belmont at the Big A. You know, I like to ride the Hot Barns. I don't think the cutback from 7 to the mile is going to hurt. I think, in fact, it might help. She was a little flat, I thought, last time. I know she broke her maiden going a mile, but that was an off-the-turf race.
She wants more distance, but that's fine. That's silly. But
why is it silly?
Because the best figure she's ever run have been at a mile, and so to say she wants less.
I didn't say. I said I think it might help her cutting back a little bit. Last time she looked a little flat. The last 3/16, 1/8 of a mile last time.
She wasn't flat. She was being outrun by a better horse. But I'm sorry, but if you want to say, the way I would say it is, I'm not worried about 1 less furlong, nor is anybody sane. But you do have a horse, the 2 best figures she's ever run are at a mile. And the 6 furlong fig 2 back is horrible. So somewhere in there saying that it's better for her with less distance isn't really, it's just a conjecture with no back, with nothing to back it up.
Last time,
it's just random conjecture.
What I watched last time, she looked a little flat the last 8th of a mile. I'm not going to base that off of her win as a 2-year-old going a mile in an off-the-turf race.
Right, she should be better now, and she's not. I think that there's a real question to the validity of the fig going forward from her last race. And Dame Cinco is running tomorrow, and she may win tomorrow. I have a lot of questions whether or not that race is as fast as that figure suggests.
Fair enough.
Time form has it a little bit slower. I'm not saying she can't win if the figure was 67. I'm not a big fan of this horse, to be honest. I don't really like her. I don't think she's much horse. I kind of had enough of her. I just thought Manchin, we'll take a look at Manchin breaking her maiden, and obviously things have fallen apart for her. Ray Handle's numbers, first time for a tag, not special. They're not terrible, but they're not special. She was running faster races, and I wonder if maybe Ray's just running her where she can win. I don't know. Maybe. Is he really supposed to bring her back in a non-winners of 1 where she's going to get her butt kicked,
No, she can't.
And maybe Ray's just running her where she belongs. She's a horse that hasn't run in, another 2 months, 3 months, and somebody wants to clean her for 40 and move on. They only paid 40 for her, right?
She's one that certainly did not move forward, right? Her 2-year-old fig's her best fig, and she came back and she ran pretty good in the Cicada. I mean, she ran well enough off the long layoff. She was part of that pace that day. It was a pretty solid pace. She ran okay, but I mean, her form's really fallen apart since then. And
wait a minute. She got a 71 buyer in her last start. It didn't fall apart. I think your initial statement is very fair. She's a horse that never moved forward. I think that's extraordinarily fair. But it hasn't fallen apart. It hasn't fallen apart. But her last race is up there with other races. She just, you know, what was wrong? I mean, she lost to November Rain, and that was when Baba ran it off out of her skin. To a T came back at Saratoga and ran an 85 buyer.
Baba was in good form.
So I'm not sure it fell apart. She just didn't move forward. But she might have found the right field here. I mean, you're kind of against her, which is fine.
I am kind of. I was somewhat. I really like Preposterous in here.
Okay. Race number 3. Well, we'll see how the money burner Rocky Sky does here. We'll take a look at Rocky Sky's last race, a race where Creative Cairo almost ran 4th. And I do think you have to ask yourself, what is the idea with this horse? Why are they not being more aggressive with her? It's kind of like leaving your finger in the door jamb and slamming the door on it every time and wondering why you keep ending up in the hospital.
The light socket.
I mean, this filly is a hanger. She's underperformed. Do something different.
Well, I picked her today just assuming that Flavien Prat's going to do what he's done with some of these Chad Remmer.
We assumed that they would go to the lead last time, and he showed about as much interest. It was Irad, but they showed about as much interest.
Besides herself went. I know she didn't go that fast early, but she showed.
This horse made no attempt whatsoever to be forward.
But the difference was also that Prat was on Besides Herself, and he went.
Well, he didn't show any intention to back. I mean, listen.
There was some pace in there, two back, though, right?
She is a horse that the single best race she's run is the race 6 back when she was ridden aggressively. Why? And I understand it's Europe, but she was 5 or 6 lengths in front of the field the whole way around the track.
And you could argue our best U.S. race was the Hillsborough behind Bleecker Street, where she was a little bit
more forward.
Yeah, a little bit more forward.
Right.
I don't understand. I picked her today. I know she's the chalk, but I picked her today assuming that Prat was going to put her on the lead.
Well, I mean, the only horse that could be in front of her is Wicked Groove. I guess Creative Cairo go a little bit.
Last time was the time there, right?
But yeah, I don't know how she's coming up beating this field. With the 1 scratch, she could take some of the speed out. And I think that if Rocky Sky goes the lead, she's probably going to win this race. But I don't understand the mentality of continuing to fail with the exact same game plan.
Well, it certainly seems like Flavien Prat has taken things into his own hands and just putting these horses on the lead, and it's working.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes with her, they didn't go, and maybe it's not the riders.
But like I said, last 2 starts back, when she didn't go, there was some speed in there. They went 23 and change. They went fast enough, and then last time, Besides Herself, really took the initiative, and she was ridden out of there.
They were going backwards out of the gate, so it's not like, I just don't get it.
Right, the plan, it didn't seem like the plan was to be a little bit more forward, even if not on the lead.
Right, it's one thing to leave and the other guys go and get position, that's fine.
I agree. No, she keeps finding herself losing position. And even 2 back, she made up plenty of ground, but she was just left with way too much to do.
And it's not as though she's losing to superstars.
2 back.
It's one thing, when she lost to Bleecker Street.
She's
losing to horses that she certainly feels like she could have beaten.
Right.
So, you know what? Set her to the front and lose. What's the difference? She loses
the
all the time anyway.
She's losing the other way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that she's not going to be a superstar.
I just assumed, especially with Starship Malamar coming out.
I just had enough.
Great name, by the way. I love how all those Starship horses, they finally got something I can get on board with.
I have a question about
Malamar.
Why was that the one you used to buy like the points?
It's only in the winter because the marshmallow and the chocolate will go bad. So it's the graham. It's like a s'more. It's almost like
a regular. What were those?
Like
what was the candy that was like a peanut butter cup? By the way, Dave O'Rourke is wrong. Dave just made fun of me because I referred to a nightclub as a disco. Dave is not as old.
No,
as
they were
discos. They were considered discos.
Well, Dave's between me and you. But I remember them being called
close
discos.
to you, actually.
Yeah,
much closer to you than me. He's a child.
But I remember I remember hearing the word disco.
Yeah, they were considered disco.
Sure.
I mean, when I went there in the 70s, it was a disco. It probably was
disco
called the
Tex.
disco.
Disco Tex. Disco the Hughes.
I missed Studio 54, but I did make other clubs in town, but I missed Studio. I wish I had.
I would have loved to have seen you in a.
What that?
I would have loved to have seen you in a disco.
I used to go to Palladium back in the day.
Stay up for 3 days in a row?
I used to go to Limelight, Danceteria.
Only place I stayed up for 3 days in a row was playing cards.
I did that too. As far as community adjusted, we'll take a look at the win or the 3rd place finish at Saratoga. I'm not in love with this horse, but I felt like I didn't want to pick Rocky Sky because I'm just not taking this horse again at even money. I'm just sick and tired of her. And I thought the 2nd best horse in the race was community adjusted. And when horses like Rocky Sky have just disappointed over and over and over again, especially for that barn that I mean, I get it. The Rocky Sky may well win this race, but you have to admit, when the Chad Brown horses keep failing, whether it's not being ridden the right way or not, I don't know. I know she didn't run that well in her community adjusted, but she ran well enough.
I know this filly's won a couple of times here at the very least, but to me, and your one of your arguments could obviously be that you're going to be a much better price, but to me they're kind of the same filly. And to me,
Who's kind of the
community
same?
adjusted in the. I mean, I know the other filly, Rocky Sky.
No, Rocky Sky is
money.
faster, but she loses.
Yeah.
Community adjusted actually
She's
wins
won,
races.
that's what I said. She's won a couple of races, but she just last time, especially at Colonial, she just kind of seemed one pace.
She's
That
no
was a race-
superstar.
yeah.
She is who she is, but Rocky Sky is boring. I mean, she is a tiresome horse that's in race
I don't
after race
disagree.
that she's supposed to win, and she
disagree.
loses. And she's supposed to be better than she is. She's not supposed to be mired in this condition a year or so after.
I would imagine she's going to get the Pratt treatment today.
Well, we'll see. Race number 4.
Look at me defending the guy.
Well, you maybe finally figured out that the stuff you set up state was stupid.
I don't know. What I
very
finally
stupid.
figured out is he's figured out that he can take advantage of a lack of aggression.
No,
on him.
you were
Which
way-
makes
you
him
were
a good rider.
ridiculously out of line.
I don't think so.
Anyway. Yeah, I know you don't. You don't ever think you're wrong. Race number 4. What'd you do here?
I went to the first because I really want very little to do with anything that's running here. I almost put the first as 1-2, but I split them with no name.
Okay.
Yeah, no real talk. I'll say one thing about this.
Well, there must be some reason you picked the horse besides I didn't like the other first.
I didn't like the runners, and the fact that he reached the Jimmy Ryerson, who I promised I wouldn't pick any more of his horses, but I had to go back on. I had to renege. When he reaches out for Jose Ortiz, good things usually happen. He's 2 for 4 here at Aqueduct. He wins at a little under 25% overall, and you just feel like for a barn that's a low percentage, when they reach out for Jose Ortiz, good things usually happen. So I didn't really like any of the horses that have run. I know nothing about this horse. There's not a ton of pedigree there, if any. She's an accelerate. He's an accelerate rather.
Has he had a winner?
I think he's had one. I want to say in Kentucky.
Okay.
But don't hold me.
I don't feel like I've seen. I don't feel like I've seen too many run here. Okay. The horse to beat is.
With no name.
I don't have a video for this race. Wrong race. I agree. I mean, I guess with no name is probably the horse to beat. The two, you've got second. I've got third. I don't have much to say about this horse. Thought the horse didn't do much running.
No, didn't do much running, right?
But probably fits in this race. I think Somama
Beach
was a little bit interesting. I like horses like this that showed speed first time out against much better horses, got involved in the pace, was towards the inside, and I thought this horse would be interesting dropping down second time. I like taking horses that started and it's low percentage, not a low percentage, sort of under the radar barn, not going to take a lot of money. I'd be scared of horses like Saratoga Banker. I assume they're still bringing in the rider from out of town, which is
I didn't get
a
a
lot
ride
of
change.
times a good sign. Let me take a
Bug
look.
Rider won over 40 races this year.
Yeah, I always feel like that's kind of a good sign when they do that. Oh, it is a woman, Madeline Rowland. So I thought that was a little bit interesting. I mean, Rob Atras' first-time star seemed to run. He's got the 5, Destin Hoofman. I know there's no pedigree on that horse, but his firsters seemed to run. So I'm going to try the 3. Somama Beach is a horse that's run, and I think a little interesting, and use Saratoga Banker as well, a first-time starter. But I hear with a 9, I have that horse 4th as well. Race number 5. Race number 5 is the one with the horse that ran. That's probably the horse to beat. And we'll take a look at Stonewall Star. Sweet Liberty got 3rd in that race. I didn't have anything wrong with the inside. And the other thing about it was, well, this horse moved up on the inside in the turn. It was Jose, I think, right? No, it was Manny Franco, excuse me. Moved well off the rail in the stretch. You're going to see this horse is going to start to drift out. Actually, I feel like I have the wrong horse. This horse doesn't drift out. This horse stays inside. I didn't have anything wrong with the rail that day. I thought it was okay. Probably in the 1.5 to 2 path now. I have no knock on this horse. Lost to the Favor Security Code, who ran a 70 by our first time out, ran a 60 here, and is running in tomorrow's Joseph Jimma. For Phil
Yes.
Serpent.
I had no. I picked her. I thought she ran really well first time out.
I
Got
don't
a
knock
little late
on
in the game. Right. I like the fact that she went the 6 furlongs already, and yeah.
Yeah, I have no knock on it at all. I'm just going to take a first-time start in this one. So I think it was such a stellar performance. So I guess with Caribbean Breeze, a firster for Brad Cox. Total guess a half to let her inspire
Let
you.
her inspire you.
Who's running on Saturday for Todd Pletcher, has been running very well.
I'm sorry.
What? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say a little pedigree with the two La Conquistador. I have to Estilo Femenino. And,
Who are we talking about?
The two. La
Okay, we jumped off
Conquistador.
the 9. Anyway, yeah, I'll finish with the 9, but for a second. You know, I don't know. I'm just guessing with Brad Coxon and Mendelssohn. David has his horse 6-1 morning line, so he probably hasn't been impressed by the workouts. We'll see how it works out. But yes, La Conquistador on the rail does have some pedigree.
Yeah, still a half to Estilo Femenino and Mass Marauder. So.
Well, the horse that's a have to, that's a good horse, is running Ray, who's currently running, I think, for Joe Sharp. Last I saw, a very game horse, a speed horse in a distance. But you're right, there's 3 foals that ran. I agree that there is pedigree there. I thought you had this horse 4th, so I figured that you heard this horse isn't any good. You always have the Kelly Breen information. From
Yeah,
John
no,
Hepburn.
I had nothing on this horse. This is all the horses at Monmouth, so I wouldn't have the info.
I think Silver Skulllet's dangerous. Where's you have second? I have third.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ran much better than Disruption did.
Yeah, wide trip on the turns. Yeah, I thought.
Not really, actually. She's only about 2 wide in the turn. But
By the way, we are off the turf.
All day?
That was just announced. Yes, we are off the turf.
Oh.
It just happened because we just changed it on the graphic up top. I got a text and we just changed it to fast and off.
Oh, I see. I got a text and didn't look at
Yeah.
it.
So we're fast. We're taking a break anyway now, right?
No, we're not going to take a break. We're going to first go back to race number 1.
Okay.
And we're going to discuss the first race as a dirt race.
Gotcha.
I don't know if you've looked at it.
I'll put them up. Yeah,
What would your picks
the
be?
booth has them. I'll put them on the website in a bit. 4-6-1-10.
I'm 4-6-1-8. So,
I'm 4-6-1-10.
the third race. The third race is a complete and total joke. I couldn't care less who wins this race. I mean, to card this race and just there's just no coverage at all. I mean, I understand Baby Man's going to be a heavy favorite.
It cuts back to there's a 1 1/8 now, by the way, not a 1 3/8. It's a 1 1/8 on the dirt.
I am not a fan of Baby Man. I think Baby Man is a real mediocrity.
Well,
It's going to be a heavy favorite.
I have to imagine this can't be more than 2 or 3 horses, especially with Starship
you're gonna
Malabar
take
being
this.
out
I will
already.
take the 2 Creative Cairo, and I'll take 2-7 here.
Okay.
Run the 2 on there, ran against better horses. I'll take 2-7.
I went 7-3.
I wouldn't bet Baby Man in a million years.
I went 7-3 in that
Probably
race.
2-7 for me in race number 3. All right, well, we'll
That's
come
it.
back with a bunch of off the turf races, and we'll see you in a second.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Anthony and Andy, we are off the turf, so we will go through the last 4 races, 3 of which were scheduled turf races, and we'll be off the turf. My picks for dirt races are on the website. Race number 6. So you've got Not Far Now on top. Why don't you talk about this horse?
Yeah, he'll break from the rail. Obviously, that's not changing. He's going to be the speed in here again, and I would imagine he's going to just try and take them on a merry chase. First time for Brad Cox. He looked home Jerome last time, but he got run down by a horse that's a little classier than he is. And
well, that was a turf race.
Right, I understand that. But I'm just saying, with the lead last time, he's run well enough on the dirt in his career. He's got 2 wins from 8 tries, so I'll stick with Not Far Now.
Yeah, it's hard to know who will stay in from the body of the race, and 3 horses came out. They're entered tomorrow, and so I guess they demanded to run tomorrow, oddly enough, and didn't even want to wait for these races, and they're obviously in much tougher.
Lasix issues and stuff as well, so.
Well, okay, anyway, forgetting about that. Well, Quick Flash is running, but anyway, I like Quick Flash. I thought Quick Flash has improved a great deal since Natalia Lynch claimed this horse. I'm not going to hold that race against her last time. I also think that's a race that's much, much stronger than the figure suggests, and I think being close to what was an extraordinarily fast pace may have been detrimental, and I think Quick Flash at this point is the better horse and just a different horse. I have the 9 Battle Station second. Battle Station is a better dirt horse than Not Far Now, and I imagine this horse will stay in what will be a relatively small field. I think you'll see Battle Station much, much closer to the pace. So I prefer the 11 and 9 in here. Not that Not Far Now can't win, but I think the other 2 horses are just simply better dirt horses. Okay. See how that plays
No,
out.
what I meant by the Lasix was he's the only one not entered tomorrow.
Not entered tomorrow. Yeah. I got you. Okay. Race number 7 will now be off the turf. What have you done in here?
I went 14, 1, 9, 12.
Okay.
And you got to give them a 4th pick because the 1A's out.
Well, they have a 4th pick. My picks are 4, 14, 11, 13.
Okay.
Right, guys? You have a 4th pick. You know the 1A scratched.
Now you're
it's
on.
4, 14, 11, 13, which was sent in yesterday. Okay, so go ahead with Spooky Road.
Again, kind of riding the Linda bandwagon. You know, this horse's race last time out was either surface, any circuit, best by far. I know this horse found a very, very hungry bunch of horses last time.
Terrible.
A very hungry bunch of horses. I completely get it. But truth be told, I don't think there's a ton in here that is scaring me. The 2 other main track onlys are,
Well, Carrick could win.
Carrick can win, I guess.
Affinity's a little tough to take. What about a horse like the 11? You don't have the 11 anywhere except Temptation? I mean, I know the horse lost a short price at Tampa, but did run a 64 buyer that day. This horse is shown to be able to handle the dirt. I mean, better than Lady of Thornton. Thought she was fairly logical, assuming they want to stay in with her. Guessing the Quarry of Thunder will stay in. Are you just putting Jose Cameo in? Is it just a Jose Cameo play?
Quarry of Thunder, yes, it's a Jose Cameo play, and I'm assuming that the horse will stay in as one of the.
I know this horse failed a lot for Linda Rice at short prices, maybe later, but I'm assuming that Bill Morey will leave this horse in on the dirt. He ought to, because she should be the favorite to win. I don't think you're ever supposed to scratch a horse, especially at a $65,000 race. There'll be no worse than second choice and probably favored. You know, yes, she burned money, but the reality is the horses that beat her in those races are better than the ones she's facing today.
Yeah, much better.
And maybe later's got the dirt races that make her logical in this race and at this kind of purse. I think if the 4 stays in, she becomes much the horse to beat. She may not win, but she is the horse to beat. She's disappointed before, but she did get it done last time. And Bill Morey has better numbers off the claim with turf horses than dirt horses, but he's still a dangerous trainer, and I think maybe later is the best horse, assuming she stays in. We'll obviously get more scratches as the day goes on. Race number 8, the only remaining race scheduled for the dirt that's going to be run. We'll see if Mozienko keeps it going. We'll show her last race at Saratoga. I don't see any reason to be strongly against this horse. Maybe her form will fall apart, but she has really turned it around. And
amazing, isn't it?
yeah, well. You know.
Kind of another one, too. Once they started getting aggressive with her.
Exactly. And Dennis mentioned that in an article, I think, with Dave Grenning, talking about how Louis being more aggressive. Now, to be fair, Omar Morelos Hernandez was dressed with her 5-back when I needed her for a huge score, and she lost to a horse, Prairie Fire, who would be 150 to 1 if she ran this race.
Yeah,
and she's like 6 or 7 to 5 in the morning line. She's in great form. Maybe it was Saratoga. Maybe she's just improved.
I took one shot against her with Chasing Cara. I'm assuming the rain comes and assuming we have a wet track. Chasing Cara moves up big time on a wet track. Her best races have come on a wet track. I imagine she's the controlling speed from the rail with Jose Gomez. I took one little shot against Mozienko. I just want a little bit of a goofball in here.
She has one race where she got loose against inferior horses, and she ran a big figure. Those are suspect races. While you're not wrong that she runs well in wet tracks, the other races she's run in wet tracks don't give her a shot in this race.
Well,
not
she
even a
beat
remote
She beat
contender.
Mozienko last year on a wet track.
But
and it was a different Mozienko. But she also ran okay in this. She also ran okay in the Secret Love race. She dueled on the lead in the Secret Love race. The Secret Love picked her up. I just think her better races come with moisture in the track.
That's fine, but they're still not good enough to win this race. Unless, I mean, you're presuming
I'm hoping she gets loose.
But she is the speed. You're presuming that all of Snicket, Tuati, and Mozienko will all not show up for her to win, essentially. Now listen, I don't totally trust Tuati. We'll show her last race. I have no idea where this came from. This was a track that was kind of speed, but also was a very quick pace. I mean, Tuati completely blows the brake, and she makes a big run. I needed Firing Carol to be second here. And I thought when she was moving in the turn, she was going to get second, and Tuati just ran like out of her skin. And this is for the Nodas who didn't have any magic going on up at Saratoga. So I don't know, but I mean, she runs this last race. This field could be in trouble here. This horse ran last time.
She runs her last race. This is going to be. It's weird.
Is Javier back, by the way?
Her and Mozienko both coming off of these insane efforts. That, it's part of.
You kind of want to see him again. I don't disagree.
It's part of the reason I went to.
Is Javier riding this horse?
Well,
Snicket will win if they don't win, but.
Yeah, the rider changing here is I think Dylan Davis is on Fight on Lucy, I believe. 4.
Aha. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
I mean that's part of the reason. That's part of the reason I took a little bit of a goofball in here. Horses coming off these big figs.
But isn't Snicket going to win if the others?
I mean, I guess.
Well, what's wrong with her? She doesn't win, but she is faster than these horses.
Yeah, listen, like I said, I took a horse like Chasing Cara, who I'm going to hope gets a little moisture, and track's now labeled good.
I'm sure Hirsch is happy, so that's all that matters.
Track's now labeled good, by the way. So we're isolated in the studio. We don't know what's going on outside right now.
Correct.
They keep us like
right in a cage here. Race number 9, one of the 9th.
Finale.
What do we
there
have here? I mean, it's not
the
two MTOs are hopeless.
Yep.
I mean, I suppose Affalata could improve off the claim. I've got her 5th in case anybody scratched here.
Want her.
But her races, I mean, she's off the claim for Chris Englehart. She's slow. I mean, what are you supposed to use here? I mean, these horses, I guess mostly Harmless has got a chance to get a piece in here for Carlos. I thought Birthday Time was probably the scariest one.
At the very least,
Joe Sharp stays
Divine
in.
Wine, the 10 is an into mischief. Who knows if they're going to leave her in?
Well, I don't know.
I
guess probably will leave her in.
Yeah.
For Bill.
The two main track, the two main track only horses. I know MTOs and they'll take some money.
Ginger's going to be an overwhelming favorite in this race. A 61 buyer towers over these horses. Well, I guess that's not fair. That's not true. Mostly Harmless can beat this horse based on the races. I mean, Birthday Time only ran the one dirt race at Tampa.
Races?
Yeah, the dirt races.
I guess the two race two back.
Yeah. First time for Carlos, the horse ran fine.
Yeah.
Birthday Time's race was fast enough that the horse could probably be competitive. Did lose to Gina Romantica. Spiked was in there for Terra Nova.
But right to the turf after that.
Thinking about a Terra Nova horse. Who's the Terra Nova horse that has the big speed that ran off on the turf in the Better Talk Now? The horse that ran against Charge It in the that I picked against Charge It very cleverly in the Dwyer.
Blind and
no. Fluid Situation.
Fluid Situation.
That horse is about as dirtied up a horse I ever see. That horse gets in the right dirt race. That horse will win its next start in the dirt.
Wow, Andy giving you a little horse to watch. Love it.
Well, I came up in the PPs handicapping a race, I think on Saturday, and I was taking a good look at...
One of the 3-year-old races?
No, I forget who I know the horse was. It's a funny horse. There was something interesting about Fluid. Fluid Situation was in the PPs horse Saturday night, and I started doing a deep dive on him and said, boy, that's a horse that's been really unlucky. Anyhow, we're done. We are off the turf, unfortunately. Hopefully,
seal the track as well now.
Major, which means that we're on our way to being wetter, but we'll see how it goes. Don't really know how much rain's going, as Anthony said. We're in a cage somewhere in the bowels of Aqueduct. Actually, that's not really true. We're in the first floor. Everybody knows we are.
Everybody knows where we are. We're in Harvey's,
nice
we're in Harvey's place.
It's nice to have people out in the area.
I was telling that to Kyle before he ran out on us today. It's nice to have our building back. And we appreciate.
Yeah, I didn't miss Kyle at all when he left. I didn't even notice when he left.
I know you never do. Neither do I ordinarily, but I just look over there now.
Kyle's #1 fan.
We appreciate everything the folks who were here.
Oh,
back
of course. The vaccination stuff
But
was
it's
tremendous.
it's nice.
Worked well for us, too.
You
When
know-
I get my boosters, I just walked up and they gave me. It was
People-
awesome.
I think people
But-
forget, as Belmont's Aqueduct rather, the birthday's coming. Aqueduct opened on September 27th, by the way. I don't think we'll be
I
on
did
the
not
air.
know that.
Aqueduct opened on September 27th, yes. And
When?
this,
What year?
I could look on my Facebook. I put a nice little
I think
post
I
up
was
last
a
year.
teenager.
In any event,
A couple of years ago.
the Pope said Mass here back in 1995.
Well, I
or
think the
96.
Pope is an avid watcher of America's Day at the Races, too.
I would agree. And we were a staging ground for 9/11. We were a staging ground for Hurricane Sandy.
Is that correct? Well, that really affected this area.
And now, I mean, I was out of my house for 16 days, lost my whole apartment.
Trains
and-
didn't run to the
and
Rockaways.
came here.
They somehow got them up and running fairly quickly. I think within a week or so they got them running.
Sought sanction and refuge here quite a few days during those 17
But
days I was out of my house.
with the vaccination center, for those of you that
Yeah.
have come to Aqueduct, and if you haven't been here, you don't realize that it's a fun place to come to. It's a great city racetrack. These areas were all cordoned off. But now that they're reopened, we get to see people. I saw the people last weekend I hadn't seen in 3 years. It was great.
It was fun seeing some families out. This is not a place that you see a lot, but there's a patch of grass in the front of this building.
It used to be a great backyard.
Right, there used to be a great backyard where I
spent a lot of
spent most
time
of Saratoga's. There's a patch of grass in front of this building.
Aquatoga?
I grew up on. So there's a nice little patch
So
of grass
if you want to
there.
end up like Anthony, have your kids
Bring
end up like
your kids
Anthony,
out.
bring them out to the front, and that'll work out really
There's
well.
there's a great, I gotta find it. I have it at home in a folder somewhere. There's a great cartoon. Guy used to come here and draw cartoons, and there's a picture of all of us playing football and racing around on the whole span of Aqueduct.
Well, we should probably have a big mural painted of that at Aqueduct.
We should.
You need to head over to Naira Bets. Use the promo code MATCH200. We'll match for $200 of your initial deposit. Head on over. Probably not a great day for the family if it's raining out. I think the rain's supposed to stop. Not
Supposed to
that
be a
long.
beautiful weekend.
Yes, correct. We have the $10,000 hit and split in the late pick 5. So I've already opted in for that, Anthony, in case you're worried. And what
what I'm
else?
doing as we speak.
We have the contest. You have till 5 o'clock tomorrow. $300 buy-in. Play through Naira Bets. And last but not least, or perhaps least, 2 to 6, 8:30. We're only going to catch the first 17 at Churchill. They're running 47 races until
we
4
go.
o'clock this morning. That's on FS2 from 2 to 8:30 today.
I'll be here till 11:30 Saturday night.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But anyway, it is what it is. We're done. Johnny I is not. He's just getting revved up. He will be up at the reprise, scratch and changes, and I imagine there'll be plenty of new scratches with the races off the turf in just a few moments.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.